This is not just a memory for me, it's something that still feels alive in my heart every single day. My name is Clara Mark. I'm 28 years old, from India, and if you had met me just a few years ago, you probably wouldn't have guessed the battles I was fighting in secret. I'm sharing this because I believe stories can reach hearts in ways facts and arguments never can. So, as you listen, I hope you feel the honesty and love in my words, and maybe, just maybe, you'll see a little bit of your own journey in mine. If anything I say touches you, I'd love for you to leave a comment about your thoughts or if you've ever gone through something similar, and please subscribe so you can walk with me through more stories like this one. It began on a day that seemed completely ordinary. I was sitting at my desk in the office, finishing up some reports, when I felt a strange heaviness in my chest. At first, I thought maybe I was just tired or stressed, but within seconds my vision blurred and a deep coldness ran through my body. The last thing I remember on this side of life was a coworker's voice sounding far away, almost like it was underwater. Then, nothing. Darkness. Silence. No more office, no more sound, no more pain. And yet I wasn't gone. In fact, I became more aware than I had ever been. It was like waking up from a long, heavy sleep into a place where everything was sharper, brighter, and more real than anything I'd ever known. I could sense movement around me, not with my eyes but deep inside my being. I didn't understand what was happening, but there was no fear, only a strange mix of awe and a quiet knowing that I wasn't alone. That's when I felt a presence unlike anything I could compare to on earth. It was holy, pure, and powerful, but also tender and loving. I knew without being told that this was Jesus. He didn't speak to me with words, but I understood him completely. He revealed to me that he had always seen me, every struggle, every tear, every secret battle I thought I was hiding. He showed me that nothing in my life was invisible to him, not even the things I wished no one would ever know. As he drew closer, I felt both exposed and embraced at the same time. It was then that he began to show me the true weight of something I had carried in the dark for years, my addiction to pornography and the broken desires that came with it. I had tried to convince myself it wasn't that serious, that it was just a private weakness, but here, in his light, I saw it for what it truly was. It was not harmless. It was not innocent. It had chains, and those chains were wrapped tightly around my soul. In that moment, I wasn't judged, but I was awakened. And deep inside, I knew this was only the beginning of what he was going to show me. As I stood there in that place, though stood doesn't even feel like the right word, I felt Jesus take me deeper into understanding. He didn't shame me. He didn't speak in anger. Instead, he revealed the truth with such gentleness that it broke me in a way I can't explain. He showed me that my addiction was not just a habit of the mind, but a door I had left wide open in my soul. Through that door, dark forces had been coming and going freely, feeding off the desires I thought I controlled. I saw them, not in their full horror but enough to know they were real. They were not imaginary shadows. They were alive, intentional, and their purpose was to drain me of purity, love, and peace. And every time I thought I was simply relieving stress, or just looking for comfort, I was in fact inviting them closer. It was like being shown the hidden side of a beautiful-looking fruit, rotten and swarming with worms on the inside. He revealed to me how this sin had quietly poisoned my ability to love deeply and trust fully. It was affecting my relationships without me realizing it. The more I consumed those images, the less my heart could connect with real intimacy. My mind was being trained to see people, not as souls to be cherished, but as bodies to be used. And with every click, my heart was becoming colder. But he also showed me something I will never forget. Even in all those years of falling, of telling myself, this is the last time, only to go back again, his eyes never looked away from me. He had been there in the darkest moments, not to applaud what I was doing, but to keep my soul from completely drowning. He showed me that my worth had never been erased, even by the filth I thought defined me. Then, in an instant, I felt his love wash over me, not the kind of love that excuses sin, but the kind that digs deep, breaks chains, and sets you free. It was a love that saw exactly who I was and yet refused to let me stay that way. And I knew right then that he wasn't revealing this to crush me, but to heal me. This was when he began to uncover the sacredness of something I had long misunderstood, God's design for intimacy. And what he showed me next changed the way I see it forever. It's hard to describe what happened next because human language feels too small for the weight of what he showed me. One moment I was standing in the light of his presence, still reeling from the reality of my addiction and its spiritual roots, and the next, It was as though he opened a window into eternity, a place where the truth about love and intimacy was untouched by the corruption of this world. He revealed to me that sexuality was never meant to be dirty or shameful. It was never meant to be something consumed for quick pleasure and then thrown away like trash. From the very beginning, God designed it as something sacred, woven into the covenant of marriage, a place where two souls could unite not just physically, but spiritually and emotionally, in a bond that mirrors the selfless love between Christ and His church. It was pure, holy, and beautiful beyond words. In His light, I saw how far my understanding had drifted from that beauty. He showed me the stark contrast, how pornography takes something God made as a gift and twists it into a tool for exploitation. I saw, not with my eyes but with a deep knowing, the exploitation behind those images. The brokenness of the people involved, the unseen tears, the spiritual chains binding both those on the screen and those watching. It was not just entertainment, it was a marketplace of pain, packaged to look appealing. And then He revealed something even deeper. Every time I turned to those images, I wasn't just satisfying a momentary urge, I was feeding the very darkness that sought to destroy me. Those demonic presences I had glimpsed earlier, they thrived on this cycle. They fed on isolation, secrecy, and shame. They whispered lies like, "This is harmless," or, "You'll never be free," all to keep me bound. And the more I listened, the more power I gave them. Yet in the same vision He also showed me what freedom looked like. It wasn't simply the absence of temptation, it was the presence of something infinitely better. I saw marriages filled with deep, unshakable trust. I saw couples who treated each other as treasures, not objects. I saw intimacy that was so wrapped in love and commitment that it radiated joy, peace, and a sense of God's nearness. And then He turned my gaze inward, not to condemn me but to awaken me. He showed me the years I had been trying to fight this battle in my own strength, making promises to myself, setting up temporary blocks, deleting things, only to eventually fall again. He revealed to me that the reason I kept failing was because I was trying to overcome a spiritual stronghold with willpower alone. And willpower, He showed me, is like trying to fight a raging fire with a cup of water. He told me, not in exact words but in a deep, unmistakable way, that true freedom wouldn't come from trying harder, but from complete surrender. Surrender meant letting Him into every locked room of my heart, even the ones I'd labeled too dirty or too broken. It meant replacing the counterfeit pleasure of sin with the deeper joy of His presence. In that moment, I felt the weight of all those years, the shame, the guilt, the countless times I told myself I'd quit but didn't. And yet, instead of crushing me, His love began to lift it off piece by piece. I realized He didn't just want to forgive me, He wanted to heal me, to restore what had been lost, to give me a completely new way of living. Then He began to show me the path forward, and that part is where everything began to change in the most practical, real-life way. The moment He began to show me the path forward, it felt like the atmosphere shifted. Until then, I had been seeing truths about my past and the reality of my addiction, but now He was giving me a vision of a future where I could actually be free. It wasn't just an emotional moment, it was a revelation that freedom was not only possible, it was His will for me. He revealed to me that my life was not over, even though my body at that moment was lying still in a hospital room, with doctors calling me clinically dead. In His presence, there was no sense of time the way we understand it, but I could feel that what He was giving me was not meant to stay here, it was meant to be lived out on earth. He showed me that there were people waiting on the other side of my obedience, people who needed to hear this story, people who were drowning in the same darkness I had been in, thinking they were alone. Then, like a wave, I became aware of something. My time there was coming to an end. I didn't want to leave His presence. I didn't want to go back to a world filled with temptation and pain. But He revealed to me that the same power and love I felt there could live inside me every single day if I stayed surrendered to Him. It wouldn't be the same as being face to face, but it would be real and it would be enough. And then, it was like I was pulled backward, so fast that I can't describe it. One moment, I was wrapped in light and love, and the next, I gasped for air like I was breaking through the surface of deep water. My body felt heavy, weak, and sore. Voices were shouting around me. Someone was crying. I later found out I had been clinically dead for 22 minutes. But I knew, deep inside, that I had truly been alive in that time. In the days that followed, I couldn't stop thinking about what He had shown me. I knew this couldn't just be an emotional high that faded with time. I needed to take practical, deliberate steps to walk in freedom. He revealed to me that transformation is not just about praying once and then forgetting, it's about building a life that supports the change. The first thing I did was confess, not just to God but to a trusted Christian friend who had the maturity to walk with me through this. That was terrifying because shame always tells you to hide. But I learned that secrecy is one of the strongest roots of addiction, and confession begins to cut it. My friend didn't judge me. She prayed with me, checked in on me, and kept me accountable. The second step was removing every open door I could. I installed filters on my devices, and I set them so that I couldn't change the settings without someone else knowing. I deleted social media accounts that I kept falling into temptation with. At first, it felt extreme, but I reminded myself that you can't play games with something that once enslaved you. You have to treat it like a fire. You don't keep it in the house and hope it won't burn you again. The third thing was filling the empty space. It's not enough to just stop a bad habit. You have to replace it with something good, or the emptiness will pull you back. I started reading my Bible daily, not just skimming it but letting the words soak into my heart. Worship music became part of my morning routine. I joined a small group at church, even though I'm naturally shy, because I knew I needed people around me who loved God and could encourage me when I felt weak. He also led me to counseling, not because prayer isn't powerful but because He works through people too. The counseling sessions helped me unpack the deeper wounds that had driven me toward pornography in the first place. Loneliness, rejection, and a craving for validation. Facing those wounds was painful, but it was part of the healing. The first few months weren't easy. There were days I felt tempted to slip back, moments where the enemy whispered, "You're still the same person," or, "You'll never really be free." But every time I remembered what He had shown me in that place, that His love is stronger than my weakness, and that I wasn't fighting alone anymore. And then one day I realized something. The pull was gone. It wasn't that temptation had vanished completely, but it no longer had a grip on me. I could say no without feeling like I was ripping my heart in half. I had been free for weeks, then months. And today it has been 18 months since the last time I went back to that darkness. But the most beautiful thing is this. The freedom wasn't just about stopping pornography. It changed the way I see people, relationships, and even myself. My heart feels alive again. I can look someone in the eyes without the filter of lust. I can worship without the weight of secret shame. And I know this isn't because I'm strong, it's because He is. In the final part of my story, I want to share the hope I carry for anyone listening who feels trapped right now, because I promise you, there is a way out, and it starts with Him. If you are hearing my voice right now and you are in a place of struggle, maybe it's the same battle I faced, or maybe it's something different but just as heavy, I want you to know something. There is hope. You might feel stuck. You might feel like you've prayed 100 times and nothing has changed. You might be carrying shame so deep that you've convinced yourself you'll take it to your grave. But I'm here as living proof that you don't have to stay there. He revealed to me that no matter how many times I had fallen, His arms were still open. He showed me that His forgiveness wasn't running out, and that His power to change me was greater than my power to destroy myself. And if He could meet me in the middle of my mess, with my heart still tangled in chains, He can meet you too. I want to be honest with you. Freedom doesn't happen by pretending the struggle isn't there. It happens by bringing it into the light. It happens when you stop hiding from God and instead run to Him, even when you feel filthy and unworthy. It happens when you say, "I can't do this alone," and you let Him fight the battle with you. Please don't believe the lie that you're too far gone. I used to believe that lie, and it almost kept me in bondage for the rest of my life. But Jesus specializes in rescuing people who think they're beyond saving. He doesn't just want to fix the symptoms. He wants to heal the root, restore what's been stolen, and give you back your joy. If you're listening and this is touching something deep inside you, I want you to know you're not alone. There are others who understand, who won't judge you, and who will walk with you toward freedom. And most of all, He will never leave you. The same love that pulled me out is reaching for you right now. My prayer is that my story becomes more than just a story to you, that it becomes an invitation. An invitation to stop running, to stop hiding, and to finally surrender every locked part of your heart to Him. You don't have to fix yourself first. Just come as you are. If you've stayed with me through all of this, thank you. You've given me the gift of your time and your heart. And I'd love for you to stay connected so we can keep walking this journey together. Please subscribe to this channel so you can hear more stories of hope, healing, and transformation. And if something in my testimony spoke to you, leave a comment below. I would love to read your words and maybe even pray for you personally. No matter who you are, no matter what you've done, remember this. There is no chain too strong for him to break and no pit too deep for him to reach. I know because he reached me, and he can reach you too.